Well, hi all, good morning. I'm going to, well, it's another brew day, as you would say. I'm going to be making a barley wine today. I'm going to be making about a 12 litre batch, which will equate eventually down to about 10 litres. I'm using, I'm going to use 3 kilos, I'm going to use 3 kilos of pale malt, 200 grams of special beer and 200 grams of crystal malt, and I'm also going to be sticking some, what else have I got here? I'll stick some malt extract in there. That's extra light, so that's why I'm darkening it up a bit with some darker special beer, and I was going to shove a bit of honey in it as well at the end. I'm going to be also using some White Labs double 99 yeast, which is a highly attenuating English yeast. Apparently it eats all the sugar in the beer, so it's going to be quite dry. I'm going to be mashing at something like about 64 centigrade. I'm just going to do a single step mash and then a mash out. Hopefully it's going to be a quick day, but I'm going to go through all the processes and hopefully show you all what I do as usual. I will be doing some water adjustments halfway through, which I'll most likely add a little bit of acid before I start mashing, but I'm not. But I need to add a little bit, but I'm not going to add a lot because I want to have a more of a malty brew as opposed to a hoppy brew. Right, let's just crack on. I'll show you what I got here. So I'll just show you the grains. Obviously that's my filter bed. So I've got 3 kilograms of Maris Otter, some special B, that's 200 grams, and also some crystal malt, that's 150 crystal malt, that's 200 grams. Obviously we've got the stuff on the side here ready to go later on. Anyway, the mash mortar's ready. It says add grain, so that's what we'll do. Okay, let's get going. What I have done, I've added a little bit of magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salts. Basically the magnesium on local water is quite low, so I always add that little bit extra so that the yeast, when it actually comes to it, it has all the nutrients that it needs. What I've done, I've mixed all the grains, well, I've added all the grains in here. What I'm going to do is quickly mix it together slightly so we don't get any layering in the malt that's in the mash tun. What I do, I stick a bag inside of my Grainfather just to completely contain all the grains. I don't want any, because what I found with the filter, because my grain is pre-grained by what's it called, Warminster malt. They do grind it quite small for the actual normal brewers, obviously the commercial brewers, but the Grainfather's filter bed is just a bit bigger, and it does actually let a lot of grain through. So I'm just doing this. This bag is quite a simple bag I bought from a local supplier. I got it made to a certain size, and I just made my own hole in the bottom there. So it's nothing special, but up to now it's done me quite well. One thing I do notice is if I do a step mash, it can actually, because the water flows through, I don't exactly think don't actually feel as if it is the bag. I think it might be designed with this system here, because when you do step mashes, it turns the element on full blast, and any sugars which are in the concentrated wort just burn straight to the bottom. And I don't think having the bag or not, I think I've only had these problems since I've had the bag, but I haven't actually tested doing it without a bag with new control unit. But as I said, I found that sometimes it will burn to the bottom, which is a bit irritating, and also it trips the Grainfather out as well. Right, let's find my spoon. Find it. Okay, well I was going to use another spoon I found on the side. I know we've got a big long spoon here somewhere. Oh well. Anyway, as ever, just agitate the water as you're sticking the grains in, and then you don't get any problems with dough balls. Let's see if I can actually manage to get it in the pot instead of spilling it over the sides. What I tried to do here, I'm not really doing any stirring, I'm just agitating the water as the grains go in, so that they'll all get covered in. They don't actually hang around the top, they fall straight into the liquid. So I'll come back to you in a while once I've finished. So I finished doughing in. It's quite a thick mash today, but nevertheless, let's get on. Let's get doing it. Okay, so what I do, I just pull the bag together and I just slip it over the hole. Obviously, you've still got to have the draining going on. And then I'll stick the top plate on. And just do it exactly the same as you would normally do. There we are. So once we're there, we get the recirculating arm and the top, if I can find it. Top. The top. Put the top on. And the recirculating arm is over here. There we go. We just press the button. I've actually got it all preset up on the system here, so I'll click start, and yeah, I can see the actual liquid is flowing into the Grainfather now. So we'll leave it like that for another hour, and once we're finished there, we'll come back to you when we start doing the sparge and the boil. So I'm just calibrating my pH meter. It's about 7.2 at the moment, so I need to do a little bit of adjustment. So I've got a screwdriver here. What I'll do now, I'll just quickly adjust the back until it says 7. So after a bit of twiddling around on the knob at the back, I now get it down to the 7. So what I've got now is my water just taken out after 15 minutes, and I'll pop this in here and see what kind of reading we get. I've added about a milliliter of acid to my wort. That's now saying 5.7. So I'd ideally like to have it down to about 5.4. So I'll add about another. Well, actually, you can see it's going down. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that. I think it's better than nothing. I don't like adding too much acid to it and getting down well below that. But it's made a bit of an impact, and I'm quite happy with that. Ideally, I'd like to have it about 7.5, or 5.5 or 5.4, but we'll leave it with that. So we're about 45 minutes into the mash, and I come back and took another pH reading. As you can see, it's come down to 5 now, which is alright. So you can see there's actually at 5.6 in about 15 minutes, and about within another half an hour it's come down to about 5, which it's okay. I would prefer to I think the only reason we try to normally try to adjust the mash. The only reason I ever try to adjust the mash is because obviously to improve the efficiency of the grains. And then we get about an 85% efficiency. I'm not trying to boast it, but it just seems to come out that way. But we'll take a test in a minute and see how it comes out. Okay, so let's have a look at the. Got some mash water here. That's just been heated up. There's about 7 litres in there. And down here we've got the wort. Obviously recirculating. It's still a constant 64 degrees. As you can see, it's not too bad. It's I haven't actually bothered taking the taking the top off and actually adjust it, give it a bit of a stir around. I think some people do that, but I think because of the efficiency anyway that you get, it's not really worth it. Anyway, see you all soon. So we've hit the end of the mash out. We're at 75 degrees now. I've got my mash water there, and obviously the grains and stuff in here. Let's just open it up, have a look, see what it looks like. You can see quite clear. Let's get rid of this. And so we'll attach the bar here and quickly pull it up. What we generally do, we push the basket down, the thing down so it hits the top of the grains, and start sparging. Now I've always, I generally do go quite slow, but sometimes I do rush it, and you do pay the penalty of losing a little bit of efficiency. So it's nice and slowly goes it, as I always say. I just try to spread what you're pouring over the top very evenly. Okay, so I'm going to start sparging now, and it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been mashing for about an hour and 15 minutes so far. So I'll keep on going until we're finished. Okay, so I've got to go in. I'm going to do about 50 grams of Pilgrim, and that's going to bring the IB up to just about 100-ish. And I'm just going to pop the rest of this Bramley Cross, which I've got left over, in my fridge. It's been there for a while. It's 2014 harvest. So I'm going to top down to the whirlpool at the end, maybe give some nice blackberry flavours. And I've got my yeast, which I have been growing this week. Okay, so you can see here we've got the, I think that's the layer. I don't know whether that's the yeast or that's the, obviously the leftover water, whatever. But anyway, I'm going to pour this off, and then just give it a shake, and then keep half of this for another brew. So that's what we're going to do so up to now. So I've just taken a hydrometer reading, and I have at 1052, and I was looking for like 1056, so it's a bit off. I collected 16 litres, so looking at the efficiency of about something like 75%, which is not too bad. Okay, I'm just going to stick 50 grams of Pilgrim in. So we'll go down there now, and I'll boil for an hour. I'll set the time on this thing. And I'll set a timer for just 45 minutes, so I can stick a Prolofox tablet in there. Okay, we'll come back in a while. So a bit of an update so far. So we obviously, yeah, we did mashing, we did weighing the grains up before that. Obviously done sparging. Sparge has been slightly under, but I'm not really bothered. I think I'm sticking plenty of sugars in with the with this malt, and also with the honey, which is going to go in there as well. So we'll take a final gravity before we stick it into the fermenter. I split that yeast in half, so I took about a quarter of that yeast out and stored that in a jar for another day, and the rest of it I popped some of the cooled water into it just to get it up to speed again. So hopefully in about 40 minutes that yeast will be in there, to start chewing away again that yeast, and we'll be ready to go, and we'll dump it into the fermenter. So the next stage is we're just going to wait till this comes to the boil, which is up to about 98 at the moment. Once we're there, we are most likely to pop some this Bramley Cross in. I think it's just a token thing really, because what's going to happen is this, all the hop flavours are just going to completely die really. I mean, it's just all going to be left there as the bitterness, but maybe we might have a little bit of that flavour in a few months' time. We'll have to see. So yeah, give you an update soon, and we'll carry on doing the beer. Okay, so I'm up to the last 15 minutes. I'm going to not bother sticking a Prolofox tablet in here, because this is going to be sitting around for about 6 months conditioning anyway, so it's going to have plenty of time to clear. But what I'm going to do now, I've got a 1.5 litres of 1.5 kilograms of malt extract, which I'm going to pop in there. I better stir this at the same time in case it burns on the bottom. So That's what it's going to do straight away, isn't it? So I'm scraping the bottom here just to make sure this doesn't actually stick to the bottom, which would be not good. Okay, I think that's mixed enough. But what I am going to do now is to quickly take the paper off this and quickly dip this in the water to get the rest of the excess water stuff out of there. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly dip this in here. Okay, there's a little bit more left in there. Okay, we'll just give it a bit of a swirl around. There we are, all gone. Okay, so I'm going to give it another 15 minutes. So give it 15 minutes until, just to let that just get up to temperature again to kill any bugs I might have put in there with this wort, which I don't think I have. And then we'll quickly chill it down a bit, stick some hops in there to whirlpool a little bit. So I'm just putting the water into the pot there. Excuse my cat. She's a very meowy cat. Go on, go now. Another person that can't stand the smell of beer, I suppose. Anyway, we've got our yeast here. I'll dump that in now. I like to do it without getting the top everywhere. There we go. Hopefully that will do the business. I've lost my air, so I'm having to do the traditional dropping the water and stuff. I've also put my jar of honey in there as well. I'm going to give it a bit of a stir in a second, and once I've done that, I'll take a final gravity reading. Come back to you then. So I popped it into the fermenter. Temperature's definitely about 15 degrees at the moment, but that's being ramped up to 18 degrees. And I've got a thermal well in the back of the fermenter, and yeah, it's not doing anything just yet, but give it a couple of hours. Once that heats up, I'll start going. I'm sure it'll go very fast. Okay, so that's a wrap. I've got to clean up now. Like ever, I think that's going to take maybe another hour or so to clean up. It's about 3:15, so should hopefully be done by maybe 3:45, and that's the end of my brew day. Just the final gravity, that was 1099. I was looking at something like 1004, so I was a little bit off, but I wasn't so sure of what the yeast is gonna. I wasn't so sure what the I think that's turn this radio off. Yeah, I wasn't so sure what the what's it called, the malt was actually going to give me. And but no, apart from that, it's all good. Right, I'll give you a small update in a few hours time once it starts once it starts bubbling away. I'll show you how it's going. I'm sure it'll be going quite viciously at that wort, and we'll obviously come back to this in a few months time then. Right, signing off. Bye bye.